Of the mighty seagulls trudge the crowd around the ground. This is our year.
Hey everyone, and welcome to NRL Live Chat 2.0 podcast team wrap-ups for 2024. I'm Breno, and I'm here with PJ. How you doing, mate?
How you doing, man?
Yeah, good.
We've got the Manly Warringah Seagulls today. Everyone's favourite team.
Insert laughing emoji. Yeah. 7th place, Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. Their 2024 season. We're going to break it down like we have the other teams, and then we're going to check out what they're going to look like potentially in 2025. And PJ, you want to start us off, kick us off with the Sea Eagles 2024 season.
Yeah, well, Manly started well. They started really well. They beat South in Las Vegas, which was a great win. They trailed most of that match, mind you. Then they come out and beat the Roosters the next week, who looked really good in round one, up against the Broncos, who made the grand final.
Yeah.
So everyone went, "Oh, Manly, the real deal. Here we go!" And then they lost to Parramatta in week 3. So, and they were one of those teams that were like that this year, Breno. You know, they kind of played some good games. You go, "Oh, wow, Manly's turned a corner." Yeah. And the moment you tip them, they lose to St George.
Yeah, there was a few teams like that this year. Yeah,
there was a few teams. I think the best tippers, Breno, are the ones who work out who those wishy-washy teams are, the ones who are up and down. And then as soon as they have a good game, just bet against them because they're going to lose next week. You guarantee it.
Yeah, so as you said before, they kicked off the first games ever played over in the USA at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, taking the first win. Then they picked up 5 wins and a draw in the first 10 rounds, so they started off really strong, and then up and down, winning a couple and losing a couple for the rest of the season. So let's check them out for the 2024 season. They come 7th. They got in the finals. They had 33 points, 13 wins, 10 losses, and 1 draw. There we go.
The only draw of the year.
One of the teams that got a draw this year. Points difference 634, points conceded 521, so that's a positive 113 points.
Yeah, now 674, Breno, that put them 5th in the comp. For the 5th best attack, that's where you want to be. You want to be a top 5 attacking team. They were 7th in defence, though, so they need to probably be a bit better in defence if they're going to really push for a title chance. Yeah,
so this is the first team that's got actual positive points coming into the average points scored 25, average conceded 22.
They're in the positive.
Looking good.
They're points positive, yeah. Well, actually, after a 12th place finish last year, Breno, I think Manly fans would be pretty happy about making the finals again. Yeah, I think, you know, they got to week 2 as well. They got up over the Doggies. But we'll talk about that in a minute when we go through the games.
Here we go.
Yeah. So like I said, started really good. 2 good wins. So you're thinking they're going to play well. And then they lose to Parramatta. And then to... I can't read your screen.
Yeah.
So Dragons, yeah. So then you're like, they suck again. And then they're playing Penrith. They're going, well, they're definitely not going to beat Penrith. And then they go and beat Penrith. And you're like, wow. And it was just like that all year, you know, really good wins against Parramatta. They had a really good battle against the Dolphins and the Broncos, but they lost both of those matches in the middle of the season. They're beating the Storm in round 12. I think that's my top win of the year, Breno.
Yeah, okay.
What are you thinking?
Best game? What am I thinking? Best game looking at the 3-time premiers in round 5, beating them convincingly 32-18. Beating the Panthers. That was a really good effort at home.
Yep. Yeah, that was a good win as well. I think, you know, anyone who can compete with Penrith and the Storm this year.
At Brookvale as well, so yeah.
Yeah, but the consistency really let them down. For me, probably the worst result of the year, probably that 14-0 game against the Rabbitohs. It was probably the worst football game I've ever seen, Breno. It's in the top 5. South were terrible. They led 8-0 with a minute to go and then scored late. Manly were diabolical. Now, in fairness, I think both teams were missing about 8 first-grade players. So
I remember that. I think you were at that game too, weren't you?
I was at that game. It was a really poor game. Manly were terrible. Like South was so bad, and they won 14-0. Like that's how bad Manly were. So
Worst game
that
for
was
me,
probably-
I've gone back to round 6.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't a loss, there wasn't a win. Round 6 against the Warriors, they drew 22 all. So scoring the first 3 tries and only to let the Warriors back into it, letting them score in the dying minutes of the game, and then getting a kick in front for a penalty to tie it up, and should have won this one, but it ended up being a draw, 22-22.
Yeah, and the Warriors were going well early in the season, so that was as a missed chance for Manly there, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, one big recruit, Joey Walsh from Rugby Union. Can you believe they got Joey Walsh?
Yeah, right.
Never heard
I
of him.
don't know.
Never heard of him, but Joey Walsh is coming anyway. Corey Waddell, Matt Lodge, Raymond, a lot of names in his last name, off contract. Couple of departures, but no one of real name. You know, Jamie Humphries is an up and coming hooker. I think that's a loss for them, but they got a pretty stable spine. Manly, as long as Tommy Turbo stays fit.
That's right. Yep.
They're looking pretty good. So I don't see Manly really gaining or losing anything. I think next year under Seabold they might get a little bit more consistency.
I was just about to say, hopefully they'll be a bit more consistent. They'll still make it 8, but they've got plenty of stars in their team. They just need to play well and be on the field. And
and Cherry Evans, I mean, he's in career best form this year. He was so good.
Absolutely.
Ruben Garrick was not only a try-scoring machine, but he was brilliant in the goal-kicking department once again. You know, they had some really Cooler played some really good games. Remember he came in first grade a couple of years ago. It was a bit dicey, but they've stuck with him, and he's looking really solid now. So there's guys that are going to be better for the season.
Yeah.
I think Manly's pushing 5th. You know, to be fair, 5th or 6th next year if Turbo stays fit.
That's right.
They won't make the 8 if he doesn't.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident with that. Every time he drops off, they completely drop off.
Travojevic, I saw the Travojevic and thought it was Turbo, but it wasn't. Leading.
Ruben cracked the 200 points. Brilliant player.
Yeah.
Tommy Talao, 18 tries. He really come on this year as well.
Yeah, they're leading tries.
Spent some time, I think it was the West Tigers. He looked pretty good there, and you put him into a back line with Cherry Evans feeding you the ball, mate, and my goodness, he improved. And don't forget Luke Brooks. He was an addition to the Manly team this year. Luke Brooks probably had one of his better seasons, although when it come to the crunch, you know, in that semi-final, especially the second semi, he really did struggle at that level. So... Yeah, most of Manly struggled that night, though.
All right, Pete.
So, Breno,
that's Manly. Who we got
so
next?
that's Manly done.
Yeah.
Now it's time to go to Belmore and see the doggies.
Doggies.
Doggies. So join us next time for the Bulldogs. Let us know in the comments what you thought of Manly's season. I thought they did really well.
Yeah.
13th to 7th. That's a big step up, and with some consistency next year, there's no question they can't be pushing into the top 5.
Definitely. Yeah, make sure you join us for the next one, and make sure you check out all the other ones we've done as well. See you soon.
Go Manly.
Go Manly.
Go Manly. Manly.
Manly Warringah, they'll all be waltzing behind you this year.